what's up guys, welcome back, and today we are going to be playing Blade Warband. So I'm just going to start a new game, and yes, I have played this game before, but I thought it'd be pretty cool to do a campaign for YouTube. So let's get started here. Welcome adventurer to Blade Warband. Before beginning the game, you must create your character. Remember that in the traditional medieval society depicted in the game, war and politics are usually dominated by male members of the nobility. That does not, however, mean that you should not choose to play a female character or one who is not of noble birth. Male nobles may have a somewhat easier start, but women and commoners can attain all of the same goals, and in fact may have a much more interesting, if more challenging, early game. We're gonna be a woman because I'm a woman. You were born years ago in a land far away. Your father was a veteran warrior. As a child, your family scrabbled out a meager living from your father's wages as a guardsman to the local lord. It was not an easy existence, and you were too poor to get much of an education. You learned mainly how to defend yourself on the streets with or without a weapon in hand. You started to learn about the world almost as soon as you could walk and talk. You spent your early life as a shop assistant. As a girl growing out of childhood, you apprenticed to a wealthy merchant, picking up the trade over years of working shops and driving caravans. You soon became adept at the art of buying low, selling high, and leaving the customer thinking to get the better deal. Then, as a young adult, life changed as it always does. You became a university student. Though the distinction felt sudden to you, somewhere along the way you had become a woman, and the whole of the world seemed to change around you. You found yourself as a student in the university of one of the great cities, where you studied theology, philosophy, and medicine. But not all of your lessons were learned in the lecture halls. You may or may not have joined in with your fellows as they roamed the alleys in search of wine, women, and a good fight. However, you certainly were able to observe how a broken jaw is set, or how an angry townsman can be persuaded to set down his club and accept cash compensation for the destruction of his shop. But soon everything changed, and you decided to strike out on your own as an adventurer. What made you take this decision? Being forced out of your home. Only you know exactly what caused you to give up your old life and become an adventurer. However, you know you cannot go back. There's nothing to go back to. Whatever home you may have had is gone now, and you must face the fact that you are out in the wide world, alone to sink or swim. Alright, so we'll put my name up here, and then we have 9 skill points. One of the first things I'm going to do is prisoner management. I'm not trying to be weird, but you can sell them. You can make a lot of money by capturing prisoners of war. Inventory management, we'll do that too. And we'll have Iron Flesh, I guess. Power Strike, yeah, that's fine too. Shield. Okay, we're done with the skill points. Now we got attributes. We want to be strong and agile. So now we get to make our character. I could be bald. We go with the current hairstyle. Yeah. Hair color is spot on. So, and I don't feel like doing all that other stuff, so that's fine. Okay, now we get to decide where we want to go. You hear about Calradia, a land torn between rival kingdoms battling each other for supremacy. A haven for knights and mercenaries, cutthroats and adventurers, all willing to risk their lives in pursuit of fortune, power, or glory. In this land, which holds great dangers and even greater opportunities, you believe you may have left your past behind. You believe you may leave your past behind and start a new life. You feel that finally you hold the key of your destiny in your hands, free to choose as you will, and that whatever course you take, great adventures will await you. Drawn by the stories you hear about Calradia and its kingdoms, we will take a ship to the kingdom of Rhodoks. You came by ship, skirting the cliffs where the Rhodok Highlands meet the sea. Much of the coastline was obscured by the tendrils of the fog that snaked down the river valleys, but occasionally you caught sight of a castle watchtower rising above the mist, and on one occasion a beacon fire burning to the bourne of an enemy warband. You knew that you were relatively safe at sea, as you were too far south to risk encountering the sea raiders who trouble the coast of the Nordic lands. But it was still a relief to reach the gateway to the port of Jalkala and see a Rhodoc galley riding at anchor, its pennants fluttering in the evening breeze. You are exhausted by the time you find the inn in Jalkala and fall asleep quickly. However, you wake before dawn, are eager to explore your surroundings. You venture out onto the streets, which are all still deserted. All of a sudden, you hear a sound that stands the hairs of your neck on end. the rasp of a blade sliding from its scabbard. Oh. You gonna die, boy. The way they scream is so funny. Are you alright? Well, I guess you're alive at any rate. I'm not sure that we can say the same for the other fellow. That's one less thief to trouble our streets at night. Although heaven knows he won't be the last. Anyway, maybe you can help me with something. Let's talk more inside. Out here, we don't know who's listening. The merchant takes you to his house. Once inside, he stands by the door for a while, checking the street, and then, finally convinced you have not been followed, comes near you to speak. Now, let me explain my proposition. We've always had brigands in the hills, driven to the banditry by war, debt, or love of violence. Recently, however, they've been getting bolder, leaving their camps in the wild and venturing into town, looking for unwary prey. The watch commander tells us it's because of all the fighting on the frontiers. Fewer men to keep an eye on the street, but I'm not sure what to make of that. It seems to me that the most logical explanation is that these bandits have an ally inside the walls, who helps them enter unnoticed and helps them identify particularly tempting targets. Last week, you see, they took my brother. I don't know what my brother was thinking, a lad from a prominent house, out alone after dark in times like these. Well, I suppose you were too, but you're a stranger here and didn't know how bad things have become. He had no such excuse, but he's family, so what can you do? If you don't protect your kin, then people will start thinking that you can't protect your investments either, and I can't have that. No doubt the gang will soon send word about a ransom, but I don't care to pay it. So here's my proposition. You look like you've had a bit of experience with a blade, and more importantly, you must have a bit of fire in your belly, or you wouldn't be coming to Calradia to seek your fortune. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Gather a small party, track down these bandits to their lair, teach them a lesson they won't forget, and get my brother back safe. In return, you'll earn my lasting gratitude and a bit of silver. What do you say? I am interested. You won't be able to do this by yourself, though. If you try and take on the whole gang single-handedly, the hunter will become the hunted, I'll warrant. You'll first want to round up a group of volunteers. There's always a few lads in the villages around here looking for a bit of work. That's more interesting than tilling the soil or hauling water. They'll follow you if you pay. So take this purse of 100 dinars, consider it an advance on your reward. Go round to the villages and use the money to hire some help. I'll reckon that you need at least 5 men to take on these bandits. Very good, sir. I'll go collect some of the men from around the villages. Good. You can find me again in the tavern here in Jalkala after you've got your group together. Then we'll speak about what we do next. Okay. We're gonna go around here. Recruit volunteers. We got 2. Oh, we got 7 now. I gotta find him at the tavern. Splendid work. You have hired enough men to take on the bandits. Now, travelers entering Jalkala have told us there is a small group of robbers lurking on the outside of town. I suspect that they are all from the same band, the one that took my brother. Hunt them down and defeat them, and I will make them disclose the location of their lair. Very well, I shall hunt for bandits. Oh, there they are. I've been looking for you. Tell me where your prisoners are, and I'll let you go. Ha, those prisoners are only going free if you pay the ransom. Did you bring any silver? No, but I brought steel. Okay, let's go and kill them. I don't want this crossbow. I'm gonna sell this thing. I don't like crossbows. I like using sword. God, you throwing rocks at me? Come on, bro. You can do better than that. Oh, I knocked him unconscious. Let's go. Spare me my life. Let me go and I'll go far away from here and learn an honest trade and you'll never hear from me again. I'll spare your life, but in exchange, I want information. Either you or your mates kidnapped the brother of a prominent merchant in town. Tell me where you're hiding him, and give me your word that you'll stop troubling the people of these parts, and you can go free. Oh, bless you, my lady, bless you. We've done the lad no harm. We've been keeping him in our hideout near Shellas. I'll describe the area nearby in detail so there's no mistaking it. Okay, we're gonna capture these 2, though. Kidnapper's hideout. Can I upgrade any of my soldiers? One of them. The hideout. They're gonna wish they never messed with me. Okay, but look how stupid they look, okay? I gotta do everything myself. Come on, get him. say yeah, it's so funny. Wait, what do we gotta do now? Oh, he was running over. Thank you, my lady, for rescuing me from those fiends. Did my brother and Jelka put you onto their track? Yes, I told them that I would find you. I advise you to return to your family as quickly as you can, and be careful on the road. With the retreat cut off and the looters fall one by one to your determined attack, their hideout and their ill-gotten gains are as now yours. I think we need to go back here now. Well, my brother is home safe. I'm not sure what to do with him. Maybe pack him off to university outside Calradia. That way if he gets knocked on his head in a street brawl, no one can say that it's my fault. But that's not your problem. Here's the rest of your reward. It was well earned. The money is most welcome, and I'm glad to be of any service. Good. Now are you interested in making some more? Possibly. What do you need? Remember how I told you that the bandits had an ally inside the walls? I think I know who it is. The captain of the watch, no less, some months ago, this captain, seeing the amount of profit we merchants were making from trade across the frontiers, decided to borrow some money to sponsor a caravan. Unfortunately, like many who are new to commerce, he failed to realize that great profit only comes with great risk. So he sank all his money into the most expensive commodities, and of course his caravan was captured and looted, and he lost everything. As a consequence, it seems our captain turned to villainy to recoup his fortune. I suppose I'd do the same, heavens forbid, if I ever face indebtedness and ruination. Now, any watch captain worth his salary will have a few thieves and robbers on his payroll to inform on the rest. But our captain decides to employ these bastards wholesale. He brings them into the town, lets them do as they will, and takes a share of their take. You've heard of poachers turning gamekeepers? Well, in the unfortunate land of Calradia, sometimes gamekeepers will turn poacher. Luckily, there are still a few brave, honest souls in the watch who've told me how he works. Now here's my plan. I could bring this to the attention of King Graveth, lord of the city, but that would mean an inquiry, my word against the captains, and witnesses can be brought and evidence destroyed, or maybe the whole thing will be forgotten if the enemy comes across the border again. And all I'll get for my trouble is a knife in the ribs. In time of war, you see, a king's eye wanders far from his domain and his subjects suffer. So I've got another idea. I've got a small group of townsfolk together, some men in my employ and some others who've lost relatives to these bandits, and we'll storm the captain's home and bring him in chains before King Graveth, hopefully with a few captured bandits to explain how things stack up. All I need now is someone to lead my little army into battle, and I can't think of anyone better than you. So what do you say? How do I know you're telling me the truth? Oh, well, I suppose it's possible that I found a dozen bandits who are willing to give their lives to give a passing stranger a false impression of life in old Jelkala. Well, I guess you can't really know if my word is good, but I reckon you've learned by now that my money is good. And there's another 100 denars, or maybe a bit more, that's waiting for you if you do me this last little favor. So what do you say? Alright, I'll lead your men. Splendid. It's been a long time since I staked so much on a single throw of the dice, and frankly, I find it exhilarating. My men are ready to move, on your word. Are you ready? Yes. Give them the sign. Good. Now strike hard, strike fast, and the captain and his henchmen won't know what hit them. May the heavens be with you. You leave the tavern and go out to the streets. Nervous-looking young men are waiting in every street corner. You can see they have daggers and clubs concealed under their clothes, and catch a mixture of fear, anticipation, and pride in the quick looks that they throw at you as you pass by. Praying that your enemies have not been alarmed by this all too obvious bunch of plotters, you check your weapons for one last time and prepare yourself for the action ahead. It's time, lads. Up and at 'em. Alright. Oh, shoot. I think I'm supposed to just knock them out, but I'm straight up just murdering them. The remaining few bandits scatter off to the town's narrow alleys, only to be hunted down one by one by the angry townsfolk. Making sure that your victory is complete and all the wounded have been taken care of, you and the merchant head to his house to review the day's events. Ha! Well done. I saw at least 3 of the enemy go down before you. Keep fighting like that, and you'll make quite a name for yourself in this land. Unfortunately, about 8 of my lads got themselves wounded. I should go look on them. Let every villain learn to fear the name Zillion. Yes, yes. Now, a couple of my boys have the watch captain pinned down in a back room with a knife at his throat. I'll need to go drag him before King Graveth and explain what this breach of the peace is all about. You don't need to be a part of that, though. I'll tell you what, if all goes well, I'll meet you in the tavern again shortly, and I'll let you know how it all came out. If you don't see me in the tavern, but instead you see my head on a spike over the city gate, I'll assume you know enough to stay out of town for a while, and forget this whole episode ever happened. So, hopefully we'll meet again. Well, I think I'm gonna end the video there, guys. I think that's enough exploring for today. And I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe. Peace.